And we have Thomas Jefferson, my rival, and James Madison, also my rival. I'm here to defend my position for presidency of our great country, but a few things to preface before I begin. My fellow candidates, Jefferson, Pinckney, would rather have me silenced. I twice survived violence and stand here defiant. Aaron Burr and I, yes, we dueled at Weehawken. Aaron Burr, sirs, missed. I never fired. I aimed at the sky and the delegates' desire my candidacy to continue despite your defiance. And Jefferson, the current president, tried to remove me and triumph. Even you, dear sir, must at least feign compliance. The rules are the rules. Admit to your subsidence. Now with all that out of the way, here we convene the election of 1804. You see, me, defender of democracy. I stand here today against Charles Pinckney and Thomas Jefferson, the one defending slavery, the one who tried and failed to assail me with scandal, with which you're still trying to rankle me. Please note, I wrote and handed you a summary. I provided a clear outline through the Reynolds pamphlet. I never used federal funds to handle my scandal. Granted, I regret how I treated my wife, but I repent for my sins. You buy and sell human beings for the highest bid. Mutter all you want, bristle, grumble. The least you can do is sit down, be humble, while I take a stand against policy most harmful. The Louisiana Purchase, which Jefferson touts. Are we moving trade from New England to the South? Respectfully, sir, I have some doubts. When Benjamin Franklin petitioned to end slavery, our Congress immediately denounced the notion. The petition was tabled. The debate pushed back until 1808. For the hundreds of slaves you degrade, that's already too late. Now you dare to call for more slave states, to expand the trade for personal gain. I do not pretend to understand this Southern Democratic Republican stance. And you say Republican, but transplant people from Africa to do whatever befits your will. To control a group without freedom or independence, that sounds a lot like why we fled King George. But go ahead, Mr. Francophile, reap your rewards. And Pinckney, you're no real threat to my survival. To compete with us, you must be suicidal. When the books are written, you won't make the final. Your career, dear sir, will be a miserable spiral. And Madison, so adamant against financial establishment, you and Jefferson handed me the banks. That was your stratagem. In turn, you got the capital, perhaps unwisely, but that was our compromise of 1790. Go on, call me selfish. I was ready to die for. This new nation our children will live, grow, and smile for. Remember the Revolution? You were in France. I fought for this country, created its finance. You complain I built a system that benefits me. Aaron Burr, remember how you kicked him off as VP? Our laws are still new, but are they written in sand? You can't deny me the right to take a stand against those who only desire positions of power. If we're truly of, by, and for the people should be represented by those their equal. You're so obsessed with France, you hired French chefs so that your slaves could be trained by the absolute best, and so you could pay them less. Then you chained them to the kitchens just for souffle at your desk. And speaking of your slaves, in the farewell address Washington gave, he warned that for French allyship we would pay, quote, "The nation which indulges towards another an habitual fondness is in some degree a slave. And this," he added, "is, quote, sufficient to lead a man astray." How ironic. Thousands who served in our Continental Army were black soldiers. I wonder if one of them now acts as your grocer. I've seen Monticello, witnessed its opulence. I've seen the people there not represented in our documents. I've seen men who died defending a country we had yet to build. For the freedom we sought, our soldiers were killed. For a wish of George Washington yet unfulfilled, we rode into battle, and when men retreated, I attempted to intercede, then went to the general. He rode to the front lines on a white horse, beseeched them to turn back and guard the love of liberty with every ligament of your hearts. A god of our American mythos. George Washington fought with his heart. Against him, I too might even be a joke. I only hope our people will learn to outvote men who belittle the freedom to note. Freedom of speech defends the freedom to fight, dissent, and argue. In the Senate, the House, and even to you, sir. We've only had the First Amendment 13 years. Madison, when you wrote the Bill of Rights, was that sincere? Or did you only mean elitists? Is the title misleading? In 200 years, do you want speech contingent on whether or not men agree with your opinions? When you can write whatever you want into amendments, how is that freedom for all of our citizens? Jefferson, didn't you write the Declaration of Independence? You flip-flop, sir. William Plumer decried you wildly inconsistent. I made mistakes, yes, but I know what I stand for. I defend my beliefs. You defend whatever defends from defeat. Whatever allows you a mistress. Sally Hemings mothered you how many children? Yes, I too had an affair, but at least I was transparent. Your descendants will curse you and all your assessments of what makes a citizen and what leaves one arrested. What line do we draw? What have we attested? Will our debates of today become prophetic? The holes we leave in our guidelines achieve holes for corrupt men to abuse and reveal true character. I may not win this contest today, but I must at least stand and attempt to convey the dangers of leaving our government in the hands of this man, who would have seen us fight with France in a war not even our own, perpetuated by their king's extravagance. If Jefferson had his way, our nation would still be in debt, run to the ground by a war we could not afford. That kind of short-sightedness cannot be ignored. I cautioned George Washington, and he acted in accord with reason. This man dared to accuse me of treason, but I question any man who'd position the capital solely for convenience. It is our duty, sirs, to stand on the right side of history. I cannot hope to see what comes ahead, but as founders of this country, we must do our best to correct that which is most harmful to our young nation, and that which will lead our successors to the evolution of ever and ever a more perfect union. Even if in November I fail and descend into history, you cannot nor ever hope to impede me. God help and forgive me. I've already built something that's gonna outlive me. Thank you, my fellow delegates. May you make the right decision in November.